Hello, Zasha. Zasha? Either way. Hello. Lord B Sky. You can label scopes. You can label if scopes. Oh, you mean this thing? Yeah. You can label everything that has curlies. Everything that has curlies is a block, and all blocks can be labeled. On top of that, you can also label while loops. So you can do so you can label a while loop. You can label a for loop. And you can label switch loops. Oh, sorry, switch loops. Switches are not loops. But by labeling a switch, if you if you if you continue to the switch, you can kind of loop. Well, this here would go inside a case, right? So I don't know, my case. And in here, then you do this. This kind of stuff. Hey, Togglebeat. Hello. Wouldn't you label the switch though instead of the if? Oh, in here? That's not my code, but or rather, I modified it, but some of it was already there. I don't know. That's what the author did before, so um, I guess in this case you can kind of do it either way. Hey Toggle, how am I doing? I'm doing fine. How are you doing? I'm about to do some Z compiler work. By the way, Toggle, you know what? I've been bad and I haven't messaged you, but here's what I was thinking. And that's my excuse also for not DMing. I was thinking that if you wanted to do something together, we could basically we could do a stream where we show to each other the things that we've been working on, and this goes back to the fact that I was working on Super HTML and I actually released it only yesterday. So I know you remember when you tried to edit some HTML with it, and then you were testing the errors and seeing how it was behaving. things have improved a little bit since then, so you might enjoy the experience. And I know that you've been working on stuff. I forget the name. Is it Parrot? I forget the name, but you made a program for creating videos with code samples, which looks very interesting. I think the only thing, like, I was making videos where that kind of tool would be great. The only thing that would be a blocker in my case is that I occasionally want to show like LSP interactions. And this is not specific to Super HTML. This is like, I'm thinking about Zig. Like, I'm trying to explain Zig concepts, and occasionally being able to do go to definition is useful. And that kind of requires you to have a real editor in front of you. But when that's not needed, it is actually nice to have that kind of tool. That's for sure. You can jump to markers. You're right. I could say, like, I'm not showing the actual. You're right, because I mean, at the end of the day, go to definition is a key bind. I mean, in Helix, you see the pop-up menu that shows up briefly when you enter go to mode. But you're right, it's not a big interaction. Like, it's something that you could just show as a jump. Actually, maybe it would be even clearer if you showed it as not as something that just replaces the screen entirely, but as something else. You know what? Maybe I haven't thought this through. That's a fair point. Do you use Helix? Yes, I do. I never learned Vim keybinds, and I did learn Helix keybinds, and they're nice. They work for me, and overall, the Helix experience has been good. I have to be honest, I am thinking of jumping ship and moving away from Helix, not because I have anything against anything that Helix is doing. It's been great for me so far. But Neurosite has been working on an editor for a while, and he has made serious progress. And having an editor that is written in Zig unlocks the possibility of, customizing it at least a little bit. So for me, I mean, something that in theory I could do also with Helix, but in practice, there's way less friction if it's a Zig project. So we'll see. Well, so unfortunately, Togglebit is a Rust hater. He hates everything Rust, so he also hates Helix. So yeah. Yo, I have 3 users. By the way, so here's a funny thing. Okay, let me show you something mildly funny. By the way, I should save this file somewhere. Can we save a copy? In ZiggyTest. Why are we inside ZiggyTest? What? Fine. Okay, we'll get there. Okay, I just wanted to save a copy of this file so that I don't lose it. Okay, so here's what I wanted to show you. I'm gonna go in the extension marketplace. I'm gonna re-enable. Oh, this is enabled. Okay, let me go in settings then, because I've been messing with this stuff. So I want to make sure that I have a state that makes sense, so I can demo one thing. Okay, perfect. So check this out. Basically, VS Code has a built-in extension for HTML that produces wrong end tag suggestions. and you can't turn it off. So I had to program in my extension. No, where did it go? Why do they have a timeout, these things? Okay, let me show it again. I had to program uh, a thing in my extension where I show this pop up if that thing is not disabled. And thank fucking God that I can detect that. You can't really detect that in how can I say, in a straightforward way, but there's ways in which you can kind of tell. And so I have to tell people, look, if you don't want wrong end tag suggestions, you need to disable the VS Code built-in HTML extension. And so I give them 3 buttons. See how, don't show this again, and dismiss. Note how there is no not now, like, or either you do it or not now. There's also don't show this again. I know that this is not, people don't do this anymore. What can I say? I guess I'm old fashioned. I just don't enjoy user abuse as much as people do lately. But you press the see how button and it opens a link. And it opens a link to this issue where I explain to people, listen, I can disable this in VS Code in the extension so that you don't get duplicated suggestions in general. But that doesn't disable one specific kind of suggestion, the one for closing tags. I open an issue about it in the upstream repo, and I tell you, look, you can also try this out. And if you try it, basically, if you type this in VS Code, you get inside the body of HTML and you type an opening bracket, it will still suggest to close HTML, even though you're closing it one line below. By the way, I tried to debug this, and it seems that they have a bad parser. They have a parser that the moment it sees this, like basically this causes some kind of syntax error that prevents the HTML parser from recognizing the closing tag. So they have had a just bad setup since forever, which is interesting because also you get this behavior pretty much for free if you just follow the spec. Like just following the HTML spec gives you a parser that is able, well, a tokenizer that is able to recover in a better way than what they do. Anyway, so this can be disabled, and so the only way to disable it is to disable the whole extension. And it turns out that if there's this built-in HTML extension which normally you can't access except if you type @built-in in the search box. So if you type @built-in and then HTML, it finds these extensions. And in general, I guess @built-in it shows all the built-in things that are supported by VS Code, which, by the way, you can't uninstall these things, but you can disable them. So if you have some like piece of functionality that you find annoying, like I don't know, for some reason you don't like Git integration, you can disable all these things in VS Code, which I think it's interesting. Git, Gitbase, GitHub, GitHub authentication. There's 4 Git related extensions going on. Gulp, Grunt, Jake. The fuck is Jake? Well, in any case, you have all of these things. Then there's also themes and support for programming languages. Cool. VS Code has bloatware. Yeah, unthinkable, right? And yet, here where we are. This is where we are today. In any case, you basically can disable this extension, and that's how you stop getting annoying suggestions. And if you do disable that, then Super HTML will not nag you about it anymore. So where's the funny part? Well, the funny part is that I tell people how to do this, and then I tell them, you know what? Leave a reaction every time you have to perform this procedure. And 3 people have done it. So, yeah, it's kind of funny. At least I find it kind of funny. Okay, so what are we doing today? We are working on implementing fuzz equal limit. Yesterday I did some work. Then I did some work after the stream, and we left this yesterday basically not really knowing what to do with regards to well, I think there were still some things that were left as to dos. Like, I don't think everything was working, but also there was the open question of, wait, what about the web server? Do we run the web server when running in limited fuzz mode, or do we not? And the answer basically was that, yeah, it makes sense to disable that and instead show a report. So here you can see that, for example, I'm going to run fuzzing for 100 runs, and it basically did 100 runs, nothing crashed. So we get a fuzzing report that tells us about how many runs happened, how many unique runs happened. The fact that this says 0 is actually suspicious. This is not correct, because it should definitely say more than 0. So something is wacky, but this is logic in the fuzzer. So, right now I'm implementing the infrastructure to report information. So for now, it's not my problem that the number is wrong. Anyway, we also show information about code coverage. And the idea is that this, like, if you run it again, it will say 200, because as I say here, values are accumulated across multiple runs if cache is preserved. So if you preserve the cache, you make progress in the fuzzing. So the way this works is that you can do this basically. You do, for example, you can also use suffixes as like 10K to do 10,000 runs, or let's say 1K, 1,000 runs. So basically, what you can do is that in your CI, you say that you want to, when you're running tests in CI, you also run you also run fuzz tests for 1,000 iterations. So you don't make a ton of progress. You're not fuzzing super thoroughly, obviously. It's not nowhere near as comparable to fuzzing, in an unlimited manner. But it allows you to make a little bit of progress over time. And so, over 100 CI runs, you will have fuzzed 100,000 times. You will have run your fuzz tests 100,000 times, and maybe over time, at some point you do find something. It might be annoying that you end up having a random commit basically cause a crash. There is a UX aspect that I guess it's worth considering, but at the same time, it is good to make a little bit of progress while fuzzing, I think. So, hello X2, good morning. So I think this is interesting. Okay, so what am I doing right now? I think right now there are two things that I would like to look at. And by the way, I should also show, if you do fuzz without any limit, you start fuzzing in unlimited mode, the web server starts, takes a moment to load the WebAssembly, because it's being compiled. So the compiler is compiling WebAssembly, blah, blah, blah. This says idle instead of showing the fuzzer running. But again, I think this is another error that it's not on my end. So I'm not worrying about it for now, although it does need to be fixed. So, and it's a matter of reporting. Like, something goes wrong in the reporting, I think. Oh, you know what? Could it be that the web server? You know what? I didn't check. If the web server, for any reason, I mean, like the WebAssembly one, if by any reason this guy depends on any of our ABIs, this is importing fuzz.zig. Oh, libweb-fuzz.zig. Okay. So it has some externs: update coverage, update stats, update entry points, update source. No, I think this seems mostly not affected by the things that I've changed. Okay, so this should be fine. In any case, so there are two open questions. One is how to implement fuzzing with a time limit instead of an iteration limit. And the second one would be to be able to improve on this a little bit and say not only showing you the new latest numbers, but showing you how they change, like showing you that this run produced um, a new unique run, well, new total runs, and then maybe a new unique run or new coverage, that kind of stuff. Okay, so what are we gonna do? I think I want to implement more than the time stuff. Honestly, I'm a little bit suspicious of the time stuff. So instead of the time stuff, I want to work on improving this. I want this thing to be able to tell me how much things changed since the last time. So let's go do that. Uh, do. So in the meantime, but first, I want to take a very quick break. I'm gonna get a cup of tea. It's already ready. I just need to pour it, and then I'm gonna come back. So give me, I don't know, a handful of seconds. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. We were saying we don't worry about time for now, but we do worry about being able to show the delta. Showing the delta is surprisingly complicated um, because this happens in build runner for now. And here we do the print, but we don't have access to the data before the run. And interestingly, at the moment, we only have access. We only discovered the files that contain this information after the Fuzzer has run, which is definitely a choice, probably motivated by some actual need, but still curious, I guess. Get coverage file. I should search maybe for server. No, there's no server. CMPC's header, index of diff, make open path, create file. Wait a second. Who is sending the message that we look at? So message queue. To have some handle to standard out somewhere, we need to have a handle to standard out in here. Oh no, you know what? Actually, it might be the test runner that does this. Yeah. Oh, look at this. It's the test runner. It's not the fuzzer. That makes actually total sense. Query test metadata. Is this what makes us send this information? Server test metadata. There we go. If built-in fuzz, server message fuzzer coverage ID. And fuzzer coverage ID is by calling fuzzer coverage ID in the fuzzer. Exec PC digest. Hash of program counters used to uniquely identify the coverage file, which is done by hashing PCs, which are grabbed from symbols in the executable. Okay, so yeah, this information is not super easily accessible from anything that isn't the fuzzing executable. So I guess it makes sense to send this. That's awesome. But I think that coverage ID should not just be this. Coverage ID should also give us the old values, I think. Or we make it another message. Let me think. No, man. Coverage ID, making it the coverage ID message is actually really the right thing. The problem is that, well, the other guy will memory map that file, so... I think we should add it here, the logic at this point. I think we can copy it from our build runner, at least some of it. Message to coverage ID run. Yeah. Hmm. Okay, let's see how easy it is to do this. So this is basically the logic that we need to implement. Yeah, let's see how easy it is. So what's the root directory? Hmm. Good question. We don't know that. So we need to know, we need to figure out what's the cache root. The coverage ID is coverage ID. Coverage file path. All right, we created it ourselves. What am I saying? Okay. um, we probably don't know this, so we can do this. Also, we should say if error equals error um, it does not exist. File not exist. I don't remember the name of that error. In any case, if that error is something specific, then we're actually fine. We fall back. Otherwise, we do fatal. Um, I think we can do it like this. And it's something like this. But if there is a file, yeah, then we look at all this stuff. Whoops. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Yeah, it's something like this. And then when we get here, assuming that everything went well, we basically want to do this. Okay. Okay, cache root. How do we learn about what the cache root is? Yeah, good question. Well, we will open this later on in actually where there's OPT cache there. So I guess cache there can be passed in. Is it expected for it to be present? No, it's optional. Oh no, it's not optional. Not optional at all. Okay, so the cache there, when we start, must be present. And we pass into... Oh, and then we call main server. Um, right. Hmm. So wait, fuzzy BI means that we can't reach into the fuzzer, can we? Oh, we can ask the fuzzer for information through callbacks, but we can't look into its state. So it means that here we have lost information about the cache directory. That sucks. I guess we can make a global for it. We can totally make a global for it. Or, well, you know what? Even better. We just pass it down. Okay, we can pass it here. There we go. Oh. 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 There we go. It all seems so peaceful. I wasn't feeling peaceful when I was writing the HTML stuff, but this stuff seems so much fun, much easier. Okay, so we have the cache directory. Local cache there. Shadows function parameter from outer scope. Oh. Cache there path. Oh no, wait, this should be called opt cache there. There we go. Okay. So we have recovered a cache directory. We now can open the file. The next thing that we need to do is send a message about this and make it so that the coverage ID message also contains this extra information. Um, so, so what do we want to send? We basically want to send these stuff here. We want to send total number of runs, number of unique runs, and coverage. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3 numbers. 3 numbers, all of 3 needs to be U64, so we send 3 U64s. So we can't use a select serve U64 message, we need to do something different. Serve coverage ID message. Size of U64 plus size of U64 plus size of U64. We were saying this is the coverage ID. This is the total number of runs. This is the number of unique runs. And this is the number of the coverage amount. For U64s. So instead of tag, which we hard code to coverage ID, and here we assert that it's not coverage ID, you have to use the other one. So this is the ID, then runs unique of coverage cov. I hate autocomplete. Okay. ID unique. Actually not runs. Unique cov. Okay, there we go. Oops, walk cov. Okay, there we go. So we're sending all the information. We flush. So now coverage ID message now has more girth to it. Let's just put it that way. UCC4 alley of total runs accumulated. It is U64 alley of total of unique runs, and then of coverage accumulated. There we go. Okay. Okay, so instead of serve view64 message is serve coverage ID message. Okay, so let's see how it works. This here is in the case of an error. I think it's error dot not found. File not found. Yeah. The file not found, we send zeros. This is where we start. There's a fatal in here. We don't recognize fatal. Okay. Fatal. Okay, we need to keep in mind that this is going to be our fallback. We do this every time things go south. Unless it's an unrecoverable error, of course. So for example, here we're trying to read and something goes wrong. What do we do? Honestly, I think that we shouldn't fail hard. Instead of failing hard, I think we should just reset this file maybe. For now, let's panic. I think it's fine. Let's consider all of these hard errors for now. We can always be more fancy in the future. Okay, so I guess for now I'm only implementing the case where the file doesn't exist, which I mean makes sense. That's totally fair. Okay, so we want to serve the actual numbers here. So ID is the ID. Runs is going to be header dot end runs. Is this number? This is the U size. Unique. Maybe these things should become U sizes eventually. Whatever. Unique is going to be header dot unique runs, and then we have coverage, and coverage is scene count. There we go. So with this, we are sending all the information that we need. This is not too bad. We close this file because we're going to memory map it afterwards. And yeah, this is all good. Okay, so next thing that I want to change, that I need to change, is wherever we receive this message, because everywhere we receive this message, we're now parsing it wrong. So we need to make sure to do it right. In build runner, we deal with it in here. Here we have coverage. And coverage, we think that there's way less stuff in it. Cumulative. Cumulative runs. Cumulative unique runs. And coverage. Okay, now we need to take a look at where we fill this stuff out. So here we're dealing with the coverage message, but that's fine because this guy doesn't care about these other properties. But what we care about is what parses this message. What is it that parses these messages? I think that if we build, we're going to get a compiler that is going to guide us. Maybe we're going to get also other compilers first, but eventually we'll get there. Yeah, there we go. Right away. Run.zig 1802. 1802. There we go. Let's see. Oh, we're straight up onto fucking casting. Okay. Um let's read a little bit more of what's in here. So polar blah blah blah. Server message header. As long as we don't have a full header message, we keep polling. Then we take struct header. Then we take the header size, and that's our body. Right. That's our body. And now we're basically casting body to this. But in this case, it needs to be a line one. It's a pointer to an line one array of 3 const of 3 U64s. Jesus, what a delightful type. So coverage D is message pointer index 0. And then in here we have cumulative runs is message ptr at 1. Unique messages ptr 2. Oh, this is actually 4. Yeah. Coverage msg ptr 3. Okay, so we now correctly pull in also this information. And now in our build runner, we have this info. So we can show deltas. We can even show it this way. So this is not necessarily how we want to do it in the future, but we can even do it like this. Relative this. Okay, we can even show it like this. Let's see how this goes. Also, I need to run Fuzz in limited mode. Incompatible types. U64 and something else. Okay, we have bugs to fix. Okay, this stuff. What's the problem? Limit amount is a U64. Oh. Was this it? No. Incompatible types. Oh, run steps. .lan. Yeah. Yeah, that was silly on me. Nah, I don't believe it. Come on. There must be more build errors. Yeah. There we go. Expected type build, cache directory found, something. Oh, we forgot a try. Of course. Well, this needs a catch. Actually, if we fail at this, what do we do? You know what? If we fail at that, let's just do this for now. Although it should be like this. Yeah, it should be like this. Except the type build cache directory found fs there. Oh. Oh. Um, how does this work? There's cache directory. Oh, has a path and a handle. Okay. Wait, what else is there? There's CWD. Init CWD. Hmm. Hmm. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing more work than I should manually, but well, there we go. Okay, look at this. Now it says, okay, runs went from 0 to 100. Unique runs went from 0 to 0. Coverage went from this to this. So far, so good. Now, running this, doing another fuzz run with 100 runs should get us from 100 to 200. It would be nice if this number increased, which it should normally. It doesn't right now, but that's not my problem. And then also coverage should go from 318 to something more. And yeah, it works. It works. It totally works. And I also see that there's an ad running. Okay, I'll wait for the ad to stop running, and then I'll explain to people. Not bad. Okay, so for the people who got ads up until now, um, I got it working. So now it's basically showing that, well, you run the fuzzer and it loads the state before where it left off, basically. It tells you up to where it got and if there's any change in coverage or unique runs, and of course also total number of runs. Yeah, this is it. So this part, I'm happy with this part. Like, I'm happy with all these things. I feel that this is a decent patch as is. It's only missing in basically what to do about time, like the timed mode, which I find problematic, let's just say. So, um, I'm happy. I think this is something that I should PR. I'm not going to send the PR right now, but I'm going to discuss this a little bit more later today with Andrew. But I think this is shaping up as a decent PR that adds support for a little bit of fuzzing and well, a little bit more fuzzing stuff. And yeah. What do we do next? I don't want to work on. I do not want to work on the time stuff because I'm not convinced that the time stuff makes sense. It's too problematic, and this is a good stopping point for this work. So maybe it's time to look at something completely different. Can you see how many have to watch ads? No, I can't see that, but I can see that. So there's two ways in which you run Twitch. And by the way, Candy Bar, this does not apply to you because you're on YouTube, so it doesn't matter for you. But on Twitch, you can kind of run your channel in two ways. One is you just let ads happen whenever they happen. So first of all, you can't get rid of ads. Ads are going to be there. So starting from that fact, then what you can do is either let ads happen whenever they happen, which means that usually when people want to open your channel, they will see ads as they open the channel. Or you run ads at a fixed schedule, and that means that when people open your channel, they won't see ads, but whenever the next round of ads happens, then they too will have to see ads. Like, everybody will have to see ads unless they are subscribers. If somebody's a subscriber to my channel, then they don't get ads. Yeah. So, yeah. Support editor config for formatting. I don't really like this idea. But there's one that I want to add. Actually, there's a couple issues that we can add that I know for sure we want to have going forward. So one is this. Custom element. So HTML custom element JSON, I think. Custom elements manifest. There we go. This is it. So basically, this allows you to create declarative files that describe your custom elements and what is it that you can they can or cannot do. And that way you can inform your editor about them and provide more errors. I think this is nice. Well, you know what? I don't know if this is really nice. I would have to really read the schema, how everything works. There might be things that I don't like, details that I don't like about it, but in general, this is an improvement because everything that allows you to report more errors is an improvement, I would say. So blank issue. Let's see. Web components. Add support for custom element manifest. Currently Super HTML has extremely has, let's say, lacks validation for web components. If a dash is found in an element name, then it's considered to be good. And it's considered to be good. But and it's considered to be good actually. And there's still another problem though, because we don't allow custom attributes on those bad boys. And I don't even know how custom attributes work. Do they need to have a dash in them as well? They do need to have a dash, don't they? So for example, if I do foo bar, this is fine. Oh shit, I don't even validate attributes. Okay, which is correct, but obviously not great. It's correct because these things can have custom attributes. It's considered to be good. And it's and all extra validation is skip, e.g. attribute validation. So what do we want to do? Well, the custom element manifest, plural, does Super HTML have anything special for data sets? What do you mean? Attributes prefixed with data. It works like this. So if you put a random attribute, we complain that we don't know anything about. But if you have data-foo, then we're fine. So long story short, the data attributes are allowed. And there is no validation to them because I don't think there is. Well, aside obviously from syntax, other than that, there's no other validation that you can apply to them. So yeah, they're allowed. The custom elements manifest is a JSON file that describes. I don't know if it's one per element or what, but in any case, it describes how describes properties of a web component. Including custom attributes allowed, if any, and inheritance this stuff. Does SuperHTML support extending the built-ins? So we could define stuff for completion validation? No. The issue that I'm adding is the closest thing to that. So the idea is that this is for web components. So elements that have a dash in their name. When it comes to built-in elements, no, you can't mess them up. You can't mess with them. I'm assuming that you are interested in the official semantics of HTML elements. So so that part can't change, but I'm willing to support personalization for things that aren't part of the HTML standard. Well, sorry. When I say that aren't part of the HTML standard, I don't mean any random wacky element. I'm talking specifically about custom elements. So that we can add more errors, more error reporting for custom elements. That's it. Although we lump to get everything together on a single web component thingy. Although you know what, it wouldn't be too bad. I think it wouldn't be too bad. You know what? It's actually not too bad, to be honest. Not too bad at all, because the way we make it work is we customize both its validate attributes and its validate content functions, and in there we can both mutate its runtime categorization, and we can also apply these rules. So even though it is a single element in our system, we can in any case still observe the element name, as in the string, and basically dispatch to the correct instruction set, quote unquote. To the correct, let's say, custom element manifest information based on what's going on. You know what? It's actually not too unfriendly. I want to change this back. Solving this issue implies changing the implementation. Well, no, it's a little bit more complicated. We need a dedicated thingy for it, though. Yeah. Um. Maybe this is a case where subbishes make sense. And expose it via a new CLI flag. And then second, change source /html/ast.zig to array files to have a new dedicated kind for web components. With a new dedicated kind for web components, period. Distinct, I'll say distinct from this guy. And dedicated of this new element, both attribute validation and content validation must be customized to dispatch the right manifest file rule set based on the concrete element name as the kind is the same for is going to be the same. It's going to be the same for all web components. Okay, I think this is a good issue explanation. And in here, so we have the sub issue. Here we can change this. And we can say, oh no. Oh no. I guess you take out this. Is this how it's supposed to work then? Yeah, I guess so. Okay. Let's see very briefly if this link has anything good. I just have a bunch of just JavaScript crap in it. Man, awful. Okay. Okay, we did it. There's a couple issues more that I can create. So, let's see. What else do we want? Did I add an issue for SVG and math? I thought I did. Uh, Instruments of calming. Glad that you're getting some solace out of the stream. Yeah. You know, it's nice taking your time to think things through and relax and not rush everything. Mm. So here's the other issues that are missing from here. One is SVG support. Another one is math support. And I mean, you can put SVG in Super HTML. It's not gonna complain, but that's the problem. Or rather, obviously, Super HTML shouldn't complain for SVG content for no reason, but it should validate it. And right now, we're not validating it. We do validate the syntax, but we don't validate. We don't validate the semantics, and we should. To be fair, I don't know exactly what are the semantics that are worth validating in SVG, but for example, in math, oh, well, here's a trivial one that we currently don't do. At least recognizing, for example, wrong elements. If you once you open an SVG, then we don't know what the correct element names in there are even supposed to be. So that's the kind of stuff they want to look into. And same with MathML. The problem, though, is that those things are also not so easy because because you basically need to switch the set of things that you need to suggest and validate. It's complicated. So you can make them elements. I guess we could make an SVG directory that contains elements allowed in SVG, and we can make a MathML directory with elements allowed in MathML. But then I guess we would need to know that we are inside either of these things. And actually, they could even intertwine. I don't know if they really can. But potentially? Hmm. Well, in any case, that's one thing. Another thing is escaped attributes. We currently don't really know how to analyze escaped attributes as we should, but that is really annoying. That shouldn't be an issue, at least for now. In kind of in both senses, like shouldn't be an issue for people using Super HTML uh much, and also I don't want to make an issue on GitHub for that. Okay, I think that we're kind of done with grooming issues right now for Super HTML. You know what? I don't know today specifically, but in general, I think this is a good moment to take a break from Super HTML, leave it there for a while, and start focusing on another project. Well, certainly one big project that I will need to focus on is the Fuzzer, but right now I don't want to make progress because I want first to synchronize with Andrew. So we this might be a good time to go back to Ziggy. This might be a good time to go back to Ziggy. I think it is. I think it's time to work on Ziggy. Holy shit. I almost didn't think that the day would come, but I think it's time. So for the people who have never seen it, although I think the majority of people here probably already have, but there's this other project that I've been working on. Also, a light mode website. I know Ziggy is just a light mode website. Period. I mean, it has big chunks of black sections, so let's just say that it's very punchy. It's just designed to be punchy. Yeah, flashbang. Sorry. But this is how it is. To be fair, we could make a dark mode website for it. It wouldn't be hard, I think, because we don't do anything crazy. So all we need to do is take this big background, make it a little bit darker, and flip the main font color. And I think we would be good. And this guy is in serious need of some love because I haven't touched it in ages and I never completed it in the sense that it works well enough that you can use it in Zine. But I wanted to make changes. I want to improve the schema language. I want to kind of rethink some ideas that I had for it. So, and also I learned so many things in the meantime about, I guess, everything involved in the process. So I might as well. So check it out. Okay, so if you've never seen it and like you don't know what's up, here's the idea. Imagine your package.json turning into a package.ziggy. Not saying that it should work that way, but like not saying that JavaScript should switch. They won't, and that's not the point. The point is, here's a file that you might be vaguely familiar with. Let's see how it would look like in the other format. So in package.json, there's no distinction between structs versus maps. This is a thing that I do in Ziggy that I want 100% to keep. The idea being, we make a distinction when something is key value pair with a fixed key value structure, like a struct, versus a hash map, where a map is maybe we should call them like dictionaries, maybe even. So maybe, I should change these structs versus dictionaries. But the idea is that a dictionary is basically a key value pair mapping where key names are like entirely controlled by the user. They are not like fixed. They're not part of any schema. So here, for example, you can see that the top level keys of this document, it's a struct. Like if you want your package.json to work, you need to have name, you need to have version, you need to have dependencies. Or I don't know actually how many of these you really need, but if you want dependencies to be installed, you need to have a dependencies key. You can't change the name of that thing. So the idea is at the top level here, you see that it uses syntax that we have dot fields, and then we have inside dependencies, you see there's no distinction in the syntax between dependencies and the rest of the document in JSON because they only have one kind of key value mapping. Here instead, the idea is that dependencies, since the key names are controlled by the user, they're not part of a schema. Sure, they need to be valid package names, but the package.json schema doesn't dictate what the valid values are. So this is uses string names for the keys, and you might have noticed that something interesting. This syntax, it's JSON basically. So JSON in Ziggy, JSON is just a map. It's a key value. It's just a random map. So let's look at the example up here. In the example up here, here's what we are doing. We're using a schema for everything. There's also some funky syntax that I'm not explaining yet. So let's ignore it for a moment. But the point is that then we go down here and you see there's extra. And the idea is that, we're sending a message, and this message has an extra field where you can put random metadata. It is entirely up to you. It's not type checked whatsoever. It's just like extra stuff that you can drop in there. And so these things are basically use the same syntax as JSON. So instead of doing dot name field name equal, they do string colon string colon. Then struct unions. I hate dealing with unions in JSON because it's always broken and it's almost hostile to parsing. And people make all the weirdest and most disgusting schemas whenever something like unions should be involved, because they don't have a language that knows what unions are. Or in any case, they make a mess of things. So the idea is that I want in this language to have dedicated syntax for unions. So when something is a union, the way I'm doing it right now is that you can only do unions of structs. So basically the way it works is that you put the struct name first, and the struct name corresponds to the case. I might want to change this slightly because I originally thought that the idea of forcing structs and forcing you to use the struct name would be good. I'm not so sure anymore. So that's more up to debate. In any case, setting aside the details, the general idea of having dedicated syntax for unions, 100% going to stay. That doesn't change. And then another final thing that I think it's nice, multi-line string literals. Like you want to do a multi-line string literal in JSON. Good luck. You can't. You're done. Like you can't put anything that isn't super trivial as a string in JSON, which, by the way, that's a reason why people overuse YAML, because YAML allows you to put multi-line string literals in YAML, except that everything in YAML is disgusting, start to finish. So here the idea is that you can just do this. You can use Zig style multi-line string literals and it just works. Is use of a free and null pointer with Zig possible? If you want it badly enough, yes, both are possible. But you really have to want it. Null pointers are not possible if you use the type system correctly. So if you mark potentially null pointers, if you type them as optional pointers, then you will be forced to unwrap them every time you want to use them. So that means that you can have a null pointer going around, but everywhere that happens, consumers will be forced to explicitly unwrap, and so you're not going to be able to surprise sneak in a null pointer where you shouldn't, unless you um, hello penguin, unless you basically do things that break away from the type system. Use after free, yeah, definitely. The way you can avoid it is by not coming up with super complicated memory management strategies. There's plenty of tools in Zig that allow you to avoid that. There's also tooling that helps you catch these bugs and avoid them, but they're definitely possible. Okay, so yeah, I think it's time for some Ziggy. It's been a while. There's also Zine, but you know, Zine is in such a much better place than Ziggy is right now. I really think our next stop is Ziggy. We need to make it good. It's not good yet. No, nowhere near. So here's my plan. I think I'm gonna work for, I don't know, let's say an hour on Ziggy. By the way, I just came to this conclusion, so I don't even know yet what I want to work on precisely. Or rather, you know what? There's gonna be like the obvious number one thing is update it to latest Zig. Although that part should be mostly done because we do use it in Zine and Zine builds. So it means that we move this to new Zig for sure. Like we added support for newer Zig, but nevertheless, we can do a little bit of website work. Maybe we can redeploy the website. We can maybe add dark mode support for people that like dark mode, so that it's a little bit less of a flashbang. I still think that it should be punchy. Like I think I like the idea that for this website to be punchy, but a little bit less blinding. And yeah. And then we start thinking about what the next move should be. Although I think I know what the next move should be. The next move is we need to iterate on the language. I really think that both the Ziggy language and the Ziggy schema language, they both need some work. Hopefully I've matured a little bit as a designer since I did this last, and I'm not gonna get stuck too much designing things. But man, this is so nice. I so miss the this. You know what? I kind of don't want to get rid of this. This is so good. So here's why I had issues with some of these ideas. Basically, I tried to use Ziggy to express the configuration of Ghosty, and it wasn't a good fit. Some things were really too verbose, and some tools didn't really map well to any use case that Ghosty had in its config, in its configuration. And so that's what made me wonder about certain things. To be clear, this is not, you know, a Ghosty config language. I would say that specifically config languages for terminal emulators and tooling of that kind, they tend to want bespoke stuff. So my point is that it might very well be that it's not a particularly good use case that I've been looking at. Still, though, the fact that we fell that short, like even keeping that into consideration, I feel like we fell a little bit too short with Ziggy. So some things probably needs to change. Okay, I don't know. Let's take a look at where we left off. So let's close some Super HTML tabs. Okay, it's been a while, huh? Ziggy and also Ziggy lang.io. These are two different repos. Okay, maybe we can start iterating on this bad boy. Oh shit. And are you seeing what I'm seeing? There's a build.zig.zon and there's a build.zig in this repo. And let me tell you one thing. I absolutely do not need this build script. Long story short, this build script is still from back when Zine was not a standalone executable. Jesus, this is turbo old. So, super mega giga turbo old. So let's do it like this. Copy from zine ssg.io, zine.ziggy, copy it here. Okay, what we need to worry about is this, basically. This list of attributes. Actually, you know what? We can just space copy this stuff. That was it. Okay, there you go. This is the website. We're running it locally. What do we want to do here? So we wanted dark mode, right? So that requires us to mess with this guy. How does this stuff work? I forgot how the dark mode stuff works. So there's a MIDI query for prefers dark mode. I guess we can do it here. I forget how it works. Prefers dark mode media query. Prefers color scheme. Oh. Here you go. This is what we want. So copy. So we want body, not as a class, to have. Oh. Wait. We have vars. Maybe what we want to change is the var, but background color here it's not really parameterized. Yeah, you know what? Okay, let's do it this way then. So we do that. And then here in body, we do background color and color. So we don't override color, but we do change the background into what? I don't know. Just to try it out, just to see what happens. Okay, this is not making much of a difference. What's going on? Are we not reloading the website? So the reason why I'm messing with this is because I want to see the website change, but I don't see the website change. Let me change this, I guess. Okay, that totally happens. That totally works. And if I turn these red, why are we not overriding it? I think I have prefers color scheme dark. Do I not have that? So this is crossed out. Oops. But if I do prefers color scheme dark, this is still dark. You override that later. Oh, you're saying that this needs to be put below then for the override to work. I love, oh yeah. Boy, do I love order dependent CSS. Delightful. Okay. I don't know why I lost my pop-up, but oh no, same specificity. ABC, you sound like you know a lot about the CSS spec. I'm sorry, I'm not ready yet to have, serious conversations about CSS like we had with HTML. I'm still blissfully ignorant of how CSS works. I just use it as a, random noob user. I don't know anything about the horrors that lie in its spec, I suspect. Anyway, so body, we do white, and then if it prefers color scheme dark, background color. So that's why everybody puts the preferred color scheme dark stuff at the end. I was hoping we could be less specific, but you know what? We can do this then. Okay, watch me. I don't know if people do this or not. I don't know if this is good practice or not, but I've decided that if we do the preferred color scheme dark stuff, we do it right below. So for each one of those, we do the preferred dark one. Fuck it. So yeah, background color. What's our background color going to be? I guess we want to go over on a gray, right? We have no reason to do anything other than that. This is way too light. Consider light dark. Oh, I can put light dark on things? Wait, what? Really? Is that really a thing? Holy shit. Does not seem to be working. Maybe my thing doesn't support it yet. Hello, proper bug. Yeah, we do all the fun stuff in this stream. we don't let any fun task to we don't miss out on any of the fun stuff. No, more specifically, I was implementing fuzz limit support, and I've implemented all of it as far as I wanted to implement it. So right now you can, well, I mean, this is not merged yet, but with the work that I'm doing, you can pass fuzz. You can set a limit, which can be a number of runs, or you can even use like K, M, and G as suffixes to this number. So you can do, 10K runs. And the idea is that every time you run it, you're fuzzing a little bit more, but you're resuming from where you left off. So basically, every fuzz report is like a progress. And so I have this, well, first of all, I have this whole thing working, like the ability to do limited fuzzing. But then also, there's this fuzzing report that tells you, well, okay, previously we had 200 runs, and after this invocation, now we got to 300 runs. This hasn't made any progress, and I mean, well, this shouldn't be zero. Whether that makes progress or not by finding a new unique run, that depends on the specifics of your unit test. In any case, this is a little bit busted, but this is not something that I'm worrying about. It needs to be fixed, obviously, but it's not part of this work. And then also coverage, in case that has changed. I think the only thing that's missing is something like between, I don't know, square brackets that tells you what the delta is, like how much things have increased. Anyway. So since this work is pretty much done, I'm now focusing on other stuff. Super HTML is also in a good position, so that's also good. Okay, so text needs to be different. Text needs to be something like DDD. Text needs to be white, and that's correct. This top menu is way too light. Top nav has a background color, which we need to change. Okay, so it's FFFFF. Well, what if it becomes AAAAABB? Well, you know what? It actually can stay F. It's just the alpha value needs to change. I would say FFFFF. But then 99. Wait, did I literally come up with roughly the same thing as before? Okay. 33. Yeah, there we go. I think that's good. I'm not sold on the gray, but I'm sold on this being way more transparent. There's a border color. Is this 67% the alpha? I guess so. 20%. Yeah, that works fine. Actually, I don't know if that's what it is or whatever that's supposed to be, but who cares? Okay, I think text should be a little bit more punchy. I think that's fine. Actually, you know what? I'm not sure. I think in dark mode, bold text should be punchier. Anyway, let's see. I was trying Zig. Someone know when the fuzz feature will be fixed on the official release? It's gonna take a while. I'm working on a new piece of functionality, but it will take a while for everything to be there. Doing Zig init plus Zig build test fuzz panics on 0.15.1 Martha Tarball on the Zig download page. Yeah, I think that for that not to panic, you need to enable LLVM. If you in your test definition inside your build.zig where you define the test, if you add like test.exe dot use LLVM, that should save you. That should fix your panic. Although you didn't explain what your platform was, so if you're on macOS, if you're on Linux and you're panicking, that's the reason. If you're on macOS, then the loading debug info on macOS is broken, and there's a fix for it, but it's not merged yet. If you're on Windows, fuzzing on Windows is not supported at all for now. Oh, it's on Ubuntu WSL2. I would not guarantee that this stuff works can even work in WSL2 whatsoever. So fuzzing doesn't require super advanced functionality from your OS, but it does require memory mapped files to work correctly. And I don't know if Windows has a proper implementation of that in WSL2 or not. And if there's any issue with that, then fuzzing will not work that way. Morgzan, let me ask you this question. Well, or rather, I guess the question would be, why are you using Zig in WSL instead of directly on Windows? But to be fair, if you want fuzzing to work, then Windows is not going to be it. So my recommendation would be, if you're using Windows, wait for fuzzing to be fixed on Windows. I wouldn't... You know what? Maybe it works. Maybe I'm wrong. I would hope to be wrong. But I would not be surprised if WSL2 has some weirdo issue that it just cannot be solved. There's versions? Yeah, there's a couple. Version 1 was the old one. Version 2 is the new one that also has like an X server, so you can have you can even launch graphical applications and they will work. I don't know, Windows is ass though. Like, it's super ass, and I have to be honest, now that Windows 10 is going out of it's not going to be supported anymore. I don't know if I want to go to Windows 11. It seems super bad. And Windows is such a shit show, man. So I don't know what I want to do about that. In any case, yeah, I would suggest to wait for native fuzzing support to come. Let's do it like this then. Up here we do B and strong. Is it B space strong? Or is it B comma strong? I think it's comma, right? B comma strong. We want to do color. And we do £sign FFF. So that we have titles that are punchier. Oh, and you know what? We want that in B, strong, and headings. So H1, H2, H3, H4. Well, technically also H5 and H6. I don't know if I have any of those. Yeah, there we go. Punchier titles, which I think it's good. Maybe we can do EEE then. Not too much distance from before. Yeah, I think this is better. Now what do we do? This is the guy who is Apple boy. I mean, I have all OSs. I have Linux, I have Mac OS, and I have Windows. I don't stream Windows. The Windows machine is the one that is running OBS. It's useful to have all three OSs, but I use Mac OS only when doing development. I use Windows otherwise, and it's ass. It's like super ass. I wish I was about to say, I wish I didn't have to. And the fact is, I don't know, nowadays I don't really have to anymore. In the past, maybe. Right now, the thing that I'm thinking is that, I don't know, it's like DaVinci Resolve, maybe the only thing that benefits from running on Windows. OBS used to run better on Windows than on other platforms. That's not as true anymore. And everything else is just so ass on Windows, man. Okay. What do we do with this background? I don't love it. I don't think this background like this really makes sense for Ziggy. I think we need to blend in some color. We can't just go straight gray. I think it needs to be something different. Don't you think that the code and paragraph should have some more space between them? Code and paragraph. You mean like horizontally? Like you mean some more spacing between these two columns? In that case, honestly, not really. I don't feel that. I don't know. To me, it looks fine in that sense. It's a little bit squished because I'm trying to say a lot of things and there's not a ton of space. But I don't know. That seems fine to me. So for now, I'm more concerned with the background color that I don't like. So background color, maybe we can try HSL. Can you even trust the value that comes out of there? Oh yeah, you can. Okay. So I think this is the luminosity value, right? So that's what changes things. I don't know how to use HSL. Let's see. HSL color picker. Or we could or you know what? We could steal a color from VS Code, from GitHub. Like we could steal this gray here. I think this is not a pure gray. I think this is a gray with some color blended in. But I don't know which one. So computed. What's the color? Huh? Var? Comma var? Huh? No, but I'm also not looking at that. I'm looking at the background color. Computed. Oh, don't tell me this thing does not have any background color, and so we would need to go to the parent to know. Yeah. Background color. Yoink. Let's see how that looks. So this, I don't like this top menu now. So this background, I think it's decent. This is not bad. I like it. It's adding the type of color that I think is nice. Oh my god, these links, I can't read them. My eyes. I really cannot link. I can't read those links. Well, okay, there's these dark ones here, which is bad, but I just cannot read those thingies. Okay, we have stuff to fix. That's for sure. But yeah, not bad. Okay, so how do we use this stuff that we just changed? So keep this one. This is nice. For here, the border color stuff, text. No, I think, you know what? Border color, who cares? I think it's fine, whatever. It's just thin line. But for the background color of the text navigation, yeah. Oh, I see. So this is still white. So what we're seeing is just some white. Okay, what if we made it more transparent? Yeah. Yeah, I think I understand what the problem is. Wait, what if we... No, we can't do that. We need to take this color. I think we need to take this color, make it lighter, maybe. Although the white should be fine in that sense. You know what? Maybe this is fine. Maybe we should leave this as is. Okay. Let's say that this is fine. Let's go fix the rest of the stuff. So, oh my god, links. Normal links. What is going on? Normal links are unreadable. Jesus Christ. So I guess I'll do it up here. Anchor. Okay, yellow is definitely much better. Hover, clicked. Does that make a difference? No. Just yellow. Okay, so I like it. Yellow it is. Then what is this? Inspect. Oh, this is coloring instead of a P, stuff with class title. Okay, so these guys have different coloring. They're not going to be yellow. That's fine. They could be yellow though. They could be yellow. Honestly, these texts, these links also up here could be yellow, and the thing, the border that shows up below also could be yellow if we wanted to. Yeah. Well, let's do fixing before we do all other things. What is this? Class selected. Oh, look at this. Okay, so there's some specific overrides here for A and A hover. Okay, so we can do this. A hover, border bottom 3 pixel solid, border color, I guess we can do. Border color yellow. I like it. And top nav menu A. For color, let's do yellow as well. See what happens. We don't need to change any of these other things. Ew, too much. Way too much. Okay, how do we make a muted yellow? Wait a second. When you have red, green, and blue, what's yellow? It's probably nicer with if we do yellow, magenta, YM and K. I forget the other one. Green plus blue. Thank you. That does yellow. Thank you. But anyway, let's teach Loris how basic colors work. Thank you. So green and blue, huh? So 0, 0, FF, FF. Wait a second. RGB? Why is it white? The preview, I mean. Okay, I think this thing is like freaking out. Also, it could be just 0 FF, right? At this point, so 0 FF. But we want we want the transparency. That's the point. Okay, never mind. So 0, 0 FF, FF, and then I don't know, like 3, 3. Let's see how it is. Oh no, it's not great. What the heck is going on? 88. That's not yellow. Is this not RGB? Am I being lied to? Wait, FF 0, 0 FF. Ah, the order is different, huh? Okay, we have this muted yellow that becomes a weirdo orange. Now, you know what? I think we should use the other colors that we have been using. Text that cyan. I think this is not bad. Yeah. And at this point, maybe the border below doesn't have to be yellow. Maybe we can make that red or cyan as well. You know what? Let's make that cyan as well. Yeah. Okay. Strike character before hashtag content. You're right. I do. Thank you. Okay, so this seems mostly fine. Then we go in quick start. Oh, interesting that these other pages are resetting everything. That surprises me. But whatever. Let's fix stuff. So here, this is so we are in a nav footer, some class title stuff. Border, PRE has a given electron color, content. Oh, you know what's going on? I think we have a dedicated CSS for other thingies. And it might be embedded in either the HTML. Yep, look at this. Page as HTML has some overrides. Oh, it's finally time. So for the longest time, I haven't had any auto formatting for CSS. And so when using my language server, my auto formatter, I would always leave CSS in a disgusting state because I didn't have any. Now we finally have auto formatting. Look at this. Oh man, feels so good. Okay. So things to decide. So this is page. Okay, where are we right now? We're in documentation. So what does, there's also documentation. Okay, so this is the one probably I want to look at. Yeah, look at this. 100%. Oh, look at these are coded colors. Oh God, there's so many. Oh god, there's so much stuff. Jesus. Okay. Um. Well, let's start adding. So, first color that we encounter is the sidebar summary. Because it specifies color. What is that 333? Is that some kind of known text color? Also, I took this out, but I should put it back. 333111. Oh, I guess these are colors that we want to be dark normally, except that now we don't want that anymore. You know what? I'm gonna put this media stuff, I guess, at the end, above here, and then we just specify in there all the color stuff that we encounter. We just collect it at the bottom and then we start taking it. So we start with these guys. There you go. Then there's this one. Footer title. Manage to. I think PRE stuff we can leave alone. We'll see. Okay. So sidebar summary, color, red. Let's see. Okay. Well, we now know what that is. So we kind of want this to be something like a DDD maybe. No, we're trying to make them less prominent. So, okay, let's see, AAA. Oh, that doesn't help. That is so weird. Wait a second. Let me load the normal web page in here. So normally the way we want, oh no, we do want them to be more prominent. Never mind. I take it back. Okay, so super punchy, FFF. Yeah, maybe a little bit too much. EEE. Okay, that sounds good. Perfect. Then the hover turns the thing white. What does it do here? Oh, it turns the thing a little bit darker. So when you hover, it becomes a little bit darker. In our case, making it a little bit darker doesn't work. It has to become a little bit lighter. It's just like way too light. So yeah, we need to do this. I think we can actually do this. Check this out. FF, FF, FF. And then like basically a alpha transparent version of this. That actually is pretty good. That is kind of what we want. Yeah, perfectly happy with this. This one is way too punchy, so we need to fix that as well. Sidebar summary hover. Right, that changes the color. This is lighter because it's meant to be less impactful visually than these guys, and in dark mode that flips around. So we need this to be FF, like 22 basically. Or not? Like, what the heck? Oh, this is the color. Wait, what am I doing? Color. That's not, that's the background color that we want to change. Why is the background color? Where do we decide the background color of this thing? Wait a second. What is this thing? It's a summary element. Oh. I think I skipped this one. Or no, I didn't. I just deleted background color for some reason, apparently. Okay, so this is what we want to put here. As for color, we want this to stay text color. Yeah, there you go. Even lighter than the rest. So that works. Okay, we're missing with these links here. Footer with title. I think we should make it white, like this basically. That's it. I think this is usable. Again, I'm not convinced that this is necessarily, the best possible design or whatever, but I mean, it works and it's in dark mode. These thing above code snippets could be made less punchy. Let's do that. So I think it's in here. It's the pre before. Background color, FFF. It's a bit too much. $9.99. It's a weird in between, honestly. What if it was transparent? What would that look like? Not great because it's on top of the black element, so it's not pulling in any color, well, other than black. But you know what? It's still not bad. So we just need to change the font color to bar text color. Yeah. Honestly, I think like this is fine. Okay, I think we got almost this running. Or no, we did. I mean, these are all the pages. Well, there it is. I'll take it. Oh, this goes white though. This is colorful here. This goes white there. You know what? Let's keep it white. Whatever. Let's go into the style CSS here and in the navigation stuff. Self text cyan is text color. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Scroll bars and native items, sort color scheme light dark. I mean, I don't think there's anything. I mean, yeah, there's the scroll bars, maybe. You know what? Maybe because I was missing this is why the light dark stuff wasn't working before. This is the official one. Okay, this is it. Okay, I think it's fine. Horizontal bars on the examples, okay. Well, okay, this seems good to me. The next thing that we need to do is fix the meta tag. Oh, the one that you mentioned earlier. We have this. Oh, look at how this is gonna reformat. Let's go. Boom. Oh yes. Give me formatting. Give me formatting. Give me life. Oh, this still strips it. This should not behave like this. Okay. I want to improve on this though. I feel like the formatter really needs there's just one last tweak, and then it's gonna be perfect. LTGT? You mean for these? No. What you're witnessing is an extension of HTML that I use in Zine, where basically, yeah, normally title doesn't allow tags inside of it, so that those would be parsed. Like the super would be parsed like as just text, but in for super HTML, I want to be able to put tags. Well, not all tags, but specifically the super tag also in titles, so that you can extend them. Because the idea is that you would like for this to be like this, basically. Anyway, let's leave it like this for now. It's fine. So what else? What else? I think this is fine. Technically, we could also use the suffix technique to write stuff in title, but that's fine. Okay. Next is going to be changing the deploy stuff. We don't do setup Zig, we do setup Zine. We use Christoph IT / setup Zine at v1. The Zine version that we want, I don't remember. 0.11.1. zine release. And then the directory is going to be public, I think. Yeah. I forgot how to use my software, by the way. Yeah. Okay. So this should be it. Okay, let's see how it goes. Failure, instant failure. What happened? Oh god, I made it up. That version doesn't exist. What's the last version? Oh, I know what the problem is. I know what the problem is. I forgot a V. I think you need the V in for my action. Yeah, well, let's see if I was right, because you know what? We don't know yet if I was right, but let's assume so. Yeah, seems that I was right. Okay, so deployment build succeeded. Deployment is happening right now. So the data language. Well, I think the problem is that I don't have the preference for dark mode, or do I? Actually, no, I do have a preference for dark mode, so they should give me the dark mode once we have it up automatically. You can run actions locally using act. Yeah, but you know, I don't have to trash my Git history either because I can force push on my repos. So to be fair, that's a good point because I have trashed the Git history of other projects, but I don't have to in my case because I'm just force pushing every time I want to do another run. So, but that's a fair point. I mean, this works. Maybe the Ziggy text here should be light instead of dark. That's it. Yeah, just force push. Luke, just force push. It's not a story the clean coders would tell you. Is that in base? With top sample. No, it's in base then. It's a top nav. Here says Ziggy color black. Yeah, there we go. But what if I did this? What if this worked? Oh, it does work. Yeah, when you set up all the metadata, I guess light dark starts working. Okay, I'll take it. Watch this. GC amend GP force. To be fair, though, the right force. So if you're not the only one working on a project, the right force is to use force with leads. Which, by the way, force with leads should be the default. I don't know who designed this stuff and why they never changed it. But obviously, the default should be force with leads. Anyway. Okay, so we did some work. We now have dark mode on the website, so better than nothing. The next step is to the next step is to actually start some work on Ziggy. Let me think about the two main things that I want to look at. One is definitely start changing how the schema language works. And I think we should start by changing the three-seater grammar. Specifically, I want to take out these string literal built-ins. I don't think they make sense as much as I thought they did in the beginning. I don't know, maybe they're not too bad. It's just that right now there's a huge blind spot in Ziggy. And that has to do with enums. There is no good way of expressing enums, because you could express enums as empty structs, I guess. That's one way of expressing enums. Another one is to use these guys, but these guys are a poor fit for enums, even though I explicitly made them for enums. I made them explicitly as a thing that supports enums. They're just like stupidly verbose in that sense. So we need to rethink this approach a little bit. We definitely do. Definitely. In any case, I think this might be the end of stream for me because it's getting late. I have a meeting in a couple hours. Should eat. And probably I need to, spend some time staring at the screen thinking about what I want to do. Yeah, enums. Right now they're not great. So we need to make that better. Let's see what's happening. There's a really cool fork by Forjo to have GitHub-like workflows on Forjo. It's awesome. Huh. Anyway, everybody, thank you for hanging out. I hope you had a good time. If you were here in the beginning, you enjoyed a little bit of fuzzing work. Not a ton, because I had already done stuff and I didn't need to do more extra work. You enjoyed some website development with me. I hope that was fun. Yeah, good point, X2. So if you haven't tried Super HTML, do try Super HTML. By the way, check this out. Brew info Super HTML. You can get Super HTML from Brew if you want. Be careful. You need to get 0.6. Don't get the older version because it's very old. You might need to update your Brew to get this, the latest and greatest of formulas. So keep that in mind. And yeah, this is it. Look at how many users I have. 600 downloads in a year, 150 downloads in 30 days. So, stonks. It's also in VS Code. So if you're using VS Code, go to the extension tab and type Super HTML. It has 5 stars, so it's not only good, it's actually great. I'm new to Zig. Is there no equivalent of cargo install? Correct. There is no equivalent of cargo install. You run Zig build to produce your stuff in Zig out. So more specifically, the idea of cargo install is that you have one place where the package manager thinks the executables should go. Zig has a different approach where when you do a build, you can specify the -p parameter, which is going to be the output prefix. Specifically, it's the install prefix. So by default, when you don't specify p, you are installing into Zig out. So you're creating a zig-out directory in the project that you're in, and that's where all the output goes. But the way this works is that basically, if let's say that you have a local bin directory, then you set as your install prefix local, and that way Zig will put your executable under local /bin/name of the executable. So so the idea is that you manage yourself where stuff should be installed, basically. And that's I guess that's the, let's say, more old school way of doing it. Like older software had this concept, like whenever you do, kind of like CMake. It's like a Linux ecosystem concept. So Zig is basically doing the same. The way I do it personally, I usually still output the executables inside the project directory, and then I put a symlink in a place that I like. So I have a directory that has a bunch of symlinks in it. That's how I do it. But it's up to you. Anyway, thank you all for hanging out, and see you next time. Bye all.